Oh, hello, my little potato, you beautiful soul. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. Excuse me. You know, it should come as I was gonna say something. I was gonna say it should come as no surprise to you is what how the line started. And then it just went away. Maybe it so anyways, maybe it was I had it all like perfectly lined up, but anyways, it's gone. Um, but it should come as no surprise to you that I am inspired by inspirational stories. And so I came across the story from Facebook and I just wanted to share it with you. And it's about the guy who made White Claw. So it says, I don't like, okay, granted, I don't know if this story is true, but I'm just going to go with it. So in 2019, White Claw sold so fast that America ran out of it. Stores empty, the company confirmed a nationwide shortage. The man behind it had spent 47 years getting laughed at first, starting with selling wine out of the trunk of his car. His name is Anthony Von Mandel. Anthony Von Mandel was 22 years old. It was 1972 in Vancouver, Canada. He had an economics degree and no money. Does that sound familiar? He started a one-man wine importing business. No office, no warehouse, no staff, just cases of wine in the trunk of his car and a kid knocking on doors trying to convince restaurants to buy. Then he did something that made the entire wine world laugh at him. In 1981, he bought a broken down winery called Mission Hill in British Columbia's Okanagan Valley. At the time, nobody respected Canadian wine. The Okanagan wasn't on any map that mattered. Everyone said the same thing. Canada can't make world class wine. You're throwing your money away. Go to Napa like everyone else. Nobody will ever take that valley seriously. He didn't listen. Here's what Von Mandel knew that everyone else missed. He didn't need permission from the establishment. He needed cash flow. And the products the big players ignored could fund the dream they laughed at. So he got creative. The early years of the import business were brutal, difficult by his own description. He grew it anyway, one restaurant and one case at a time. Then the 1980s nearly killed everything. Interest rates hit 24%, the winery was bleeding money, and banks don't wait for dreams. So Von Mondel invented a product on the spot. Okanagan Premium Cider, one of the world's first flavored ciders. And by his own admission, the first version was awful. But it sold, and it kept the winery alive. That became his playbook. Invent a drink nobody else is making, use the profits to keep building. But here's the part nobody talks about. It took 13 years of grinding before the wine world stopped laughing. In 1994, his Mission Hill Chardonnay won the top Chardonnay award at the International Wine and Spirits Competition in London. A Canadian winery from the valley nobody respected, beating the best in the world. He rebuilt Mission Hill into a landmark. The New York Times would later call the Versailles of the Valley. Condé Nast Traveler called it the gold standard of wineries. His answer to the doubters who told him to go to California. I wasn't interested in being the 1,000th winery in Napa. Then Von Mandel turned his attention to a much bigger fight. He looked at the beer industry. Giant companies, billions in advertising, total control of what young adults drink. And he saw a gap they were all ignoring. People who wanted something besides beer. He wasn't chasing the beer giants at their own game. In his words, he wasn't trying to make a better beer. He was building an entirely different category the beer companies were ignoring. So in 1999, he launched Mike's Hard Lemonade in the United States. Big beer laughed again. They called drinks like his malternatives a gimmick, a fad. When Mike's took off, Von Mandel said they were selling millions of cases almost overnight. Mike's became an American icon anyway. And that's when everything changed. Von Mandel noticed something new. Consumers were counting calories, ditching sugar, drinking vodka sodas instead of beer. The beer giant saw the same data and did nothing. So in 2016, he launched White Claw Hard Seltzer, 100 calories, light, simple, a category that barely existed. And for 2 years, it built quietly. Then came the summer of 2019. White Claw, White Claw, White Claw went from a drink to a movement. The comedian's video coined the line, "Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws," and the internet did the rest. Memes everywhere, coolers full of it at every party in America. Demand got so intense that White Claw confirmed a nationwide shortage. The company just couldn't make it fast enough. White Claw captured roughly 60% of the entire hard seltzer market in the US. In Canada, it became the #1 ready-to-drink brand in its first month. Now Big Beer stopped laughing and started chasing. Anheuser-Busch launched Bud Light Seltzer. Boston Beer pushed Truly, and Corona launched its own seltzer. The biggest beverage companies on earth threw everything they had at him. None of them caught him. White Claw stayed #1. But Von Mandel wasn't done. His Mark Anthony Group became the 4th largest brewer in America, out of roughly 8,000 brewers. His Okanagan wineries kept stacking international awards, and the valley nobody respected now supports hundreds of wineries. By 2025, Forbes estimated his U.S. business generated around $3.6 billion in revenue and pegged his personal fortune at $5.7 billion. One of the wealthiest people in Canada. In January 2026, after 5 decades running the company, he started from a car trunk. He handed the CEO seat to the next generation and became chairman. Here's the wildest part. He never took a dollar of outside money. No venture capital, no private equity, no stock market. He built the whole thing from the trunk of that car, funding each dream with the last one. And when buyers came into billions, he said no. His words, "You don't sell your life's work." In 2016, Canada gave him the Order of Canada, one of the country's highest honors. All because the 22-year-old with no money and no connections refused to believe the gatekeepers who said his idea was a joke. He turned a trunk full of wine into a beverage empire. He turned a valley nobody respected into a world-class wine region. He turned the categories Big Beer ignored into the categories Big Beer copies. He proved that the establishment's rejection is not the market's rejection. What idea are you sitting on because the big players in your industry ignored it? What are you waiting for someone to approve that you could just start building? Who laughed at your plan, and why are they still living in your head? Von Mandel sold wine out of his car at 22. He bought a winery in a region the experts mocked. He survived 24% interest rates by inventing a product on the fly. He waited 13 years for his first major award. And he watched the biggest beverage companies on earth copy him and fail to catch him. Because he understood something most people don't. Nobody hands you a seat at the table. You build your own table. The market doesn't care about your credentials, it cares about what you make. Rejection from the establishment isn't a verdict, it's a head start. Stop asking gatekeepers for approval. Start thinking like Anthony Von Mandel. Fund your dream with whatever pays the bills. Build what the big players ignore. Hold on when everyone offers to buy you out. And never let anyone tell you that you're too small, too unknown, or too far from the action to build something the giants will chase. Sometimes the idea everyone laughs at becomes the thing everyone copies. Sometimes the long way around is the only way that lasts. Because when you refuse to sell out, cash out, or slow down, the people who laughed become the people chasing you. Don't quit. I just thought that story was so inspirational. share that with you. Today was just, let's see. I woke up. I could not. I haven't been able to go to sleep, so I woke up at like 10 something. I was supposed to have a call at 10:30, and the person at 5:15 in the morning changed the appointment from 10:30 to 4 without asking me. So um, I was gonna go, but I missed it. So um, but I did go to the store and I bought melatonin, which I took a little bit earlier. So hopefully it doesn't make me like too like 'cause sometimes that stuff works fast, and I can already feel like my head's starting to get tired. But I needed to get it because I haven't been sleeping. So I got the melatonin. I actually got more sleeping pills for next time. So because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna want them and I'm not gonna have them. And I noticed when I woke up my phone this morning, I put my phone was on the charger last night, and I woke up this morning and my phone was at 60 something percent. And by the time I hung up my phone call at like I was on a phone call, and by the time I hung up later, it was like at 30 something percent. It wasn't even like an hour later. Like I lost 30, and I was just like, what in the F? So I went to the store. I got melatonin and the sleeping pill. Came home, got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, but fortunately the HEB is like so close, so I just came home, and then I had to leave again. And I went to T-Mobile, and first of all, they're like, you have to turn in your phone. I'm like, no. I'm like, I built everything on this phone. Like, I'm keeping this phone, right? And then the next thing was they try to sell me on an Apple Watch, and I'm like, I don't even have an Apple Watch. And then they're like, well, you have to have an Apple Watch, and I'm like, I'm gonna decline the Apple Watch. And they're like, well, you could just, return it. I'm like, I'm not paying a restocking fee or something. And I'm like, I'm not gonna pay an extra $5 a month for something I'm not even using. And so then they're like, well, we can't sell you anything. And I was like, fine, bye. So that made me upset. And I was already upset. And then I came home and my sister had left her plate on the fucking table. And we're like, we both sit in the same spot. So I don't understand why it's so difficult to pick up your plate and put it away. But now I come home and I'm like already frustrated. Then I look over and I'm like about to eat. And I'm like, now I got to clean up your stuff. Not to mention my dad came in my room at like 5 or 6 o'clock this morning and was like, oh, we're going to Beaumont. Can you take my car to the mechanic? I'm like, how come you couldn't tell me last night? I was like, that's so rude and so disrespectful. I was like, you don't have any respect for me. I was like, I get it, that I stay home, but still, like, just because I'm at home doesn't mean that I don't have plans either. I called T-Mobile, and they're like, if I don't turn in my phone, the only phone I can get pretty much is the iPhone 17. So it would just be a temporary, and it would be like $88. And I'm like, I don't even have $88. I'm just like, okay. And I was gonna apply for grants today, but I was applying for grants. I was gonna apply for a grant with Hello Alice, and I was talking to Hello Alice, and it was helping me like consolidate my 90-day plan. And it's like if you spend time applying for grants, you will lose out on time that you need to be in. Right now, you're not even the AI is like you're not in a place where you can be applying for grants and all this. And officially, unofficially, we'll just say unofficially, I got declined from POV Labs. I never got an email. I saw a video today. Someone's like, I got approved, and I was like, okay. So I canceled it. I got my points back. So now I have like 49,000 or 47,771. And I only remember because there were three sevens in the middle, and I took that as a good sign. And I'm hoping the melatonin helps a lot. I just don't know what to say. And I'm working on building, so maybe this is part of my build phase. And in tomorrow's school, the day after is my assessment. The day after that, I gotta pack. And I don't have anything on for tomorrow except for school, so that should make my life a little bit easier. Oh, I gotta record tomorrow because I'm out of videos for YouTube, so that's kind of where I am. Anyways, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to me. I had another nail pop off, but I just put it back on, so now the nail's gonna last longer, so it's good for my budget. Good. Still just missing the one, but it's alright. It happens. So, thank you again for listening. I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.